Hello, welcome to Squish Vision, where I have just finished watching Doctor Who Rogue. Now, before we talk about the episode, we've got to talk about part of the episode because it's very much the episode drops something and doesn't pick it up, and it's very like separate from the rest of the episode. There's the thing that it drops the is it a plot reveal? What do I even call it? The thing that it drops isn't particularly relevant to the rest of the episode. So we can discuss it as its own thing. And then we can discuss the rest of the episode. But there's a part where Rogue is about to execute a doctor. The doctor has to prove, spoilers by the way, the doctor has to prove that they aren't the shape shifting. Well, the doctor has to prove that they're not the shapeshifter, and they prove this by I'm gonna start my sentence again. It got lost from me because I was distracted by an OBS thing, as I always am. This is why you shouldn't produce your own content. So the doctor needs to prove they're not the shapeshifter that Rogue is looking for, and they do this by proving they are shapeshifter. I'm not quite sure how that works. It's even suggested that Rogue doesn't know what Time Lords or Gallifreyans are. So I would have thought the Doctor proving that they are in fact a shapeshifter by having multiple previous faces would have just reaffirmed Rogue's suspicions. But apparently that's enough to convince Rogue. Maybe Rogue knows something that isn't clear. Just saying, it wasn't a strong part of the episode. I also might have missed the obvious thing because of the thing that was just thrown at us. And that was, so we get, the Doctor shows us all their known previous faces. I believe we see everyone, including John Hurt and John Martin, and two different tenants, which is something we have to deal with for like forever now. There's going to be some showrunner in the future who hates that and has to put it in. And then there's another face. And I saw the face, and I have, it's Richard D. Grant. Richard D. Grant has a very, very distinct face. One of the most distinct faces in British TV. I would go as far as to say. It's fuzzy. It's not clear. It's probably also because it's a CGI makeup of his face, so it's not like hugely obvious. But it does seem pretty clearly to be Richard E. Grant. What does that mean? You can't just drop that in there and like not explain it. But it seems entirely like the thing Russell T Davies would do. And he needs to stop. Someone needs to stop Russell T Davies from like just. The thing is, he's gone on the record for saying that he just does things to troll the fans, to upset them, to get them talking. And I fully believe, based on his behind the scenes content, that's entirely what he's very much inclined to do. And this feels like that. Unless it's explained, this feels very much like that. Okay, so I'm aware of Richard E. Grant's history of Doctor Who. I'm aware that my bitrate has dropped to 0 kilobits per second. My stream crashed. Okay, I think we're back. My stream crashed. That was annoying. Okay, we're back. So, what was I saying? I can't remember. I don't know when we cut off. I'm aware of Richard Grant's history of Doctor Who. He during the comic relief special Curse of the Fatal Death, he was one of many many British actors who played the Doctor in that kind of bit, which was meant to make fun of a generation and character differences and stuff like that. I think he played like the Shy Doctor of no, that was what's his name? What's his name? Jim Broadbent. I can't remember which one of the Doctors that Richie Grant played. It's gonna bug me if I don't Google it. Richie Grant, Curse of a Fatal Death. So Richard E. Grant played. You gonna tell me or not? Okay, Richard Grant played the quite handsome Doctor. So he appeared in that as that one, which I think makes him the first incarnation we see after Rowan Atkinson dies. Then he plays what is referred to as a Schalke Doctor in Scream of the Schalke, which was released in 2003 and was at the point of release a official canon in continuity extension of Doctor Who. It was an animated, complete animated special, a high billing cast, and that was Doctor Who. And I mean, I've not seen it. It was released very much in the time when Doctor Who was on no one's radar, least of all me. God, that was a wilderness, wasn't it? And so he played a Doctor there, and that Doctor was based on his likeness. Yeah, I think it was like a 3 or 2 part like an online animated thing. If you go on the internet, you can watch it. I probably am gonna watch it, and I'm watching it now. And then he was also cast in Doctor Who as the Great Intelligence during the 2013 run with Matt Smith. So his face is in Doctor Who. And the funny thing about that is that I know obviously you can recast here and there and everywhere Doctor Who actors all the time, but a lot of like his appearance in Curse of the not Curse the first episode of that series, something about the St. John Bells or whatever it was called, and then his reappearance later on in the series, especially in like the Name of the Doctor and like the episode just before that, was reliant, like he was playing a different character, but it was obviously the same face. So it was meant to be a callback to that. So he played Great Intelligence in that. But obviously, I'm guessing this isn't a reference to that. So what's going on here? But okay, so clearly the insinuation here is that there is another incarnation of a Doctor, and I mean, it's so unclear. It's frustrating. He could be a timeless child incarnation, but then why that one and not any ones we've previously seen? Why? Because nothing's concrete in that we've seen all the timeless children. But when the Doctor was trapped in the Matrix and they did their mind thing to burst out, we saw flashes of like loads of like the on-screen appearances. I mean, he wasn't one of them. I mean, he might have been one of them older. He could very well have been any number of them much older. So, but why this in particular? Why are we? It would have been more. The thing is, we saw every single incarnation of Doctor past Hartnell, plus Joe Martin's Doctor, and plus John Hurt's Doctor is post Hartnell. So we saw all of them, and we saw Joe Martin, and then we saw his other incarnation, and we're like, why that one in particular? And if this is meant to be the Schalke Doctor, who is, I haven't seen the Scream of Schalke, so I don't know how explicit it is that incarnation was meant to be after post McGann. Maybe it's ambiguous enough that you can easily change it without it causing any like continuity issues. But like, it's really funny because that would have made that incarnation of the Doctor, the 9th incarnation at the time. And I think also his appearance in Curse of the Fatal Death was in the 9th incarnation, because I think Rowan Atkinson was playing the 8th incarnation. No, or was he a 10th? I shouldn't go into that of the article. This was released in 1999. Okay, so right. So Ron Atkinson was playing the ninth incarnation, technically. Okay, so never mind. We can disregard that. I was gonna say I don't think he played with the ninth incarnation twice, but what is it about the ninth incarnation that's so like ambiguous? I mean, it's to the point now where there's. I mean, okay, we know why, because it was the wilderness years. Because there's an entire TARDIS Wikia article about all the different incarnations of the ninth that you can possibly get if you include every single portrayal. So if we're taking it as intended from Screamer Shalka, there is another hidden incarnation. And the thing is weird. Okay, the thing that's weird about the scene is that that face appears in front of the Doctor's face, and the Doctor doesn't react. So does this mean? I mean, and the Doctor was in the middle of a monologue. So there's two readings here. Was the Doctor just too distracted to miscount, realize there was an extra face, or did the Doctor know about his incarnation? If the Doctor knew about his incarnation, why didn't this incarnation appear like? Well, if the Doctor knew about his incarnation, it can't be Thomas Child. Because the reason why Thomas Child was a big thing for the Doctor, it was incarnations we didn't know about. We knew about the War Doctor, the John Hurt's Doctors. They knew about Hurt's Doctor. They just kept it suppressed. Like it's pretty clear that showrunners have created this existence of Doctor Who where we're not limited to the Doctors that we see on screen, and we have always the Doctors in the background. But there's only so many times you can make that like a reveal. It might have just been easier if you put a random face in that wasn't much like they did with the Brain of Morbius. If they just put a random face in that wasn't one of the previous, wasn't Richard D. Grant's face, you know? I don't know what to make of it, because really it could be anything. It could literally be anything. It could be a brand new Doctor who just happens to look like Richard D. Grant. It could be the Shalka Doctor put into continuity. I mean, it's almost certainly not the Curse of Fatal Death Doctor. But at this point, I mean, Russell, like I said, well, someone needs to stop Russell T Davies. He's going far too far. I mean, it's less the fact there's a new face. It's more the fact that the Doctor wasn't surprised. I wonder why that was. I mean, again, it could just be that they weren't paying attention. And I'm like, are we ever going to go back to this or not? I don't know. It's and it's such a it's such a place to put it. I mean, it makes sense that because it makes sense. Well, actually, no, it doesn't make sense to see all Doctor's faces because, like I said, it doesn't actually prove the Doctor's point that they're not a shapeshifter. And none of like Ncuti Gatwa's dialogue explicitly references the faces. So I don't even know like if he was even aware of what was going to happen in that scene, if that was even the intent. And it's like very much thrown in. It seems just to do this. So I don't know. Let's talk about the rest of the episode. I want to start with it's not really nitpick, because I think I'm valid actually. I think this is a valid bugbear. What the Chuldra? What's the? I had it in my mind. Doctor Who bird broke. Are you going to tell me what they're called? No? Okay, never mind. It's not worth it. The aliens this episode, they're not cosplaying. That's not I do both. That's not cosplay. That's LARPing. They're LARPing. I do LARP. That's LARPing. When you pretend to be, yeah, no, it's LARPing. They're in. It's the extreme form of LARPing where you literally take over someone's body and their life, and then you play that character. They are doing live action roleplay. Cosplayers don't typically act as their characters. They're dressed up as their characters, and they might pose as their characters, but they don't tend to like actually perform as their characters. They're very much themselves. I've been to a bunch of conventions of the last year. I've yet to see anyone who actually. I mean, I've seen some people who are in like full body costumes like move around as the character, but they're not doing what the cosplay is costume play very specifically. So like yeah, Russell T Davies doesn't know the difference between LARP and cosplay. That's really the big plot twist. It's funny. He's that much of a nerd that he knows, and I mean to that, I don't know really which kind of Sophia who existed. Cosplay is a much bigger thing in Doctor Who than LARP is. I mean, I don't think there is a Doctor Who LARP, or if there is, it's not like mainstream. So it makes sense that he would know cosplay more than he knows LARP. But it's like I feel like everyone who knows what cosplay is knows what LARP is. Maybe I'm wrong there. Anyway, I mean, the real disappointment here is that the Doctor doesn't know the difference between cosplay and LARP. Or maybe he's just more familiar with cosplay. Maybe he just assumes Ruby's more familiar with cosplay. It would make sense that Ruby's more familiar with cosplay. It's strange how many people you meet and you say LARP and they don't know. I think it is true that most people know what cosplay is of a LARP. But I just want to point out, especially in the episode references Dungeons and Dragons, like you know the concept, like you. I guess more people know what Dungeons and Dragons is, but it's just so frustrating. You were so close to name dropping LARP, so I'm gonna have so many well actually moments, so many kind of nitpicky moments where someone is gonna say they're cosplaying and be like, well actually they were LARPing, and I don't know how proud I am of that. Like, I'm preemptively embarrassed. That's what I mean, I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to go right now into TARDIS posting and be like, they weren't cosplaying. They were LARPing. Other than that, it was actually kind of funny. I do generally love the idea of an alien whose entire motivation is they just want to LARP Regency era drama or whatever drama it is of history, and it makes sense because in a sense that's what the Doctor does when he travels around and integrates into like a society. He's LARPing. He just doesn't kill someone to do it. He kind of just like takes over. He just kind of acts in that kind of era. He doesn't always do it. Sometimes he's more than happy to act as themselves, but sometimes the Doctor appears and they LARP, and often the companions are LARPing as well. So that's just a bugbear, but that I did like the concept of these creatures who I don't know if there's like a pun that was meant to be there that I was missing about them being birds. I do like the kind of the movements, the kind of like twitchy bird movements that they all did. That was kind of funny. It was a nice kind of touch. I do like that, it's funny because like very early on, you can tell they're all kind of just embracing this being part of Regency era. I mean, if your complaint is the Doctor's sexuality, you're about... Okay, but that's not a new... If you're complaining about the Doctor's sexuality, this isn't a new thing. This is... The Doctor has always been that way. I mean, okay, well, the Doctor's always been that way in universe. But like in terms of it being clear on screen, the Doctor's always been that way since at least 2005. Like it's the Doctor. The Doctor isn't a man. The Doctor is a alien creature. Whoever they kiss, they're not going to be kissing the same thing that they are unless they're kissing into a Time Lord who don't have two genders anyway, because. Christopher Eccleston's Doctor has kissed Jack Harkness in Parting of the Ways. It's happened before. This isn't the first time. I think also Matt Smith kisses like loads of men. I'm pretty sure there's been references to the Doctor kissing people loads of times. I mean, I think the Doctor shouldn't be a sexual character anyway, because I think it's weird when a super advanced alien is kissing creatures of other species. Like, they're but like the gender part of it isn't particularly the thing here. Too zesty. Okay, I mean it's if it's I mean the show is about change. It's a show is about continuous change. So if it's not to your taste now, I mean my biggest issue from this episode is the fact that Russell T Davies doesn't know the difference between cosplaying and LARPing, and I think that's really what we should be up in arms about, because frankly any nerf worth their salt should be able to tell you the difference between cosplaying and LARPing. No, and that if you're going to make a reference to cosplay, you might as well make a reference to LARPing. That should be what you're angry about. But bugbear aside, if it's not to your taste now, it'll be to well, I mean, man, it's a show. Like, I'm angry about the fact that By Generation completely undermines the whole progressive nature of Doctor Who as a show that's about moving on and letting go of things and not holding on the fact that, I mean, I'm not actually that mad about By Generation as a concept. I just don't like the fact that it had to be with David Tennant, because that kind of reinforces the idea that you could hold on to something and not move on, and you're validated to do so. But I mean, there's bigger things in the world to worry about. I mean, this is rich coming from me. Maybe it just is a sign of maturity on my behalf, and I'm grown from where I was 10 years ago. It's just, you seem to be mad about something which isn't new. You seem to be mad about something which, I mean, if you're going to be mad about the Doctor kissing a I mean, is Rogue even a human? We don't even know if Rogue's human. Was it even confirmed that Rogue's human? Rogue might not even be human. I mean, the Timeless Child was fantastic. Like that's great. By Generation I have issues with, but that's not from a narrative perspective, that's from a production perspective, and I think it's Russell Davies doing for change's sake. Zesty is, you describing the Doctor as zesty is so, like, me, it gives me nothing to hold on to, so I don't know what you want me to say about that. Okay, well, yeah, fab. But like, generally the question for me is, does it ever concern, because that would be boring. If the Master was Thomas Child, that would be boring. That is such a boring and predictable twist. Oh, the evil megalomaniac bad guy is it makes more sense to the Doctor's backstory for them to be a foundling than it does for the Master. I mean, we've already explored the Master's kind of, I'm going to stop saying this multi-knife, it seems too threatening. We've already explored the Master's, like, youth and how they were traumatized. But given everything we know about the Doctor, I mean, the Doctor historically integrated themselves into other societies that they traveled to. They historically go around to, I mean, they've already made themselves an adopted member of Earth. They integrate themselves in cultures quite, like, rapidly. It makes a lot of sense for them to be a foundling. I mean, they revolted against Tamil culture for being something that doesn't fit their morality. Those are all words. I have no clue what I was saying there. What do any of those words mean? What? I mean, well, courtesy of the thick of it, I do know what Batiman means. Who's they? No one made the Doctor any. The Doctor's a fictional character, but the Doctor can't be. You're prescribing human sexes to a shape-shifting, gender-fluid alien. So do you see how your words aren't really applicable here? I mean, my question to you is, does it actually confirm that Rogue is human? Because I'm not sure it actually confirms that Rogue is human. You're asking me... What? Stop asking me questions. Answer my question. Did they actually confirm at any point that Rogue is human? Anyway, this isn't what I want to talk about, because I was talking about something else, and I can't remember what it was now. Oh yeah, I love the fact that in the show, I was watching it, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of fun. The whole like fun premise, the whole like kind of thing is the Doctor and Ruby have traveled to this era, essentially just to like role play in the situation, and then it made it explicit, and I'm like, I don't know. It's such a like easy. I don't know. That's my like easy win criteria, or at least one of it, is when the show lampshades itself. Lampshading is such a double-edged sword because sometimes it can be very like kind of like self-congratulating when you lampshade the tropes that you're using. Um, I mean, the Mr. Demal, the character of Rogue, is very pertinent to the points you're making. So you brought him up. You came onto my stream, and you brought up that character, or at least that character's perceived influence into the show. So you care about this, which is why I'm asking you the question: does it actually confirm anywhere in the episode that Rogue is a human male? Because if it doesn't, there's your out. If you were looking for one, you're welcome. So yeah, I really like the fact that they were kind of the entire motivations for being there were basically just to role play what seemed to be. I've never seen Bridgerton. Couldn't care less at Bridgerton, but it was for Ruby to kind of live out their Bridgerton fantasies, and then it was like, and then the enemy turns out to be doing the exact same thing, and that was for me really funny. So I kind of enjoyed that, and it meant that they could like drop like loads of trope. I'm just a big sucker for like trope references. Like you will never not win me by making meta references, trope references, being postmodern with your genre, just leaning into the whole like genre part. You'll never not win me. I'm so easy for that. And that's basically what this entire episode was. I do think maybe the Doctor was, I don't know. But okay. I was gonna say something, but that it sounds like I was making a criticism that wasn't existent. I think the Doctor gave up on Ruby far too easily. More so than we've seen him in the past. But that kind of work. I don't know. There has been a criticism of a series where we've not really had a huge chance. People in the past have complained that the Doctors have often kind of been subserved by the quality of the script. It's not let them do much exploration. And I've not always agreed. I think I'm kind of agreeing here in that I don't really know. And it's not helped that at least 2 of the episodes we've had with Ncuti Gatwa. Ncuti Gatwa has not been predominantly in the episode. So we've had 3. What are we on episode 5? 6? 5? We've had 4 episodes to kind of like see what Ncuti Gatwa's deal is. Maybe that should be enough, but yeah, there was a point I was getting to, and I've come. The problem with being neurodivergent is you come to you zigzag between like 5 points before you reach the point. Let me just consolidate what I'm trying to say. I think this Doctor is clear, much more like outward the emotive Doctor. A lot of the previous Doctors kind of aren't that, but this Doctor is like very happy to kind of be vulnerable, and that kind of makes sense, I guess, given the therapy plot point of the giggle, which I still have issues with, but whatever. So I have no. I mean, I want to be clear. I have 0 issues with the Ncuti Gatwa the Doctor crying frequently. 0 issues because emotional vulnerability is important to portray on screen. It's what Star Trek Discovery does so well with its emotional vulnerability. So Narumi, who was on my stream a few days ago, randomly sending me a bunch of ethnicities, is back on, and I don't know why it tickles me. Hi Naruti. I'm trying to work out if I think there's certainly been times where the doctors thought the companion has died, or at least like been given evidence towards it and not given up at that point. So I'm trying to work out if this is a kind of a divergence from that, or if it's maybe that this doctor is a bit more kind of, I guess it's less denial because the whole like it's more kind of acceptance rather than denial. A lot of previous doctors would like approach the idea of a companion being killed with denial. Um, but like you compare with say Chris Eccleston when they thought that Rose died in Dalek, and there was definitely a reaction there. And honestly, I mean, once you kind of get over that, so once I kind of think about, the more I think about it, the more I think it actually doesn't work. And I do like the fact that you have this for the first time we see this more darker side of a doctor, of this particular doctor, because I've not really had that. They've made threats and they've been upset, but you want Doctor Who to get out of Europe in a roomie, but Doctor Who is a British show and therefore fundamentally European. I think if you took Doctor Who out of Europe, it would be no longer Doctor Who. I know that's not the point they're making, but I'm going to be deliberate, just deliberately misconstrue it because how else are you meant to reply to that comment? Also, kind of, if you're telling me to get out of Europe, I'd love to travel. You can go to my Ko-fi link is in the description. If you want me to get out of Europe, you need to donate a bunch of money to me because I can't afford it. Yeah, what we've seen this doctor kind of disappointed, and we've seen them weaponize their anger to try and like make a point. So they were very kind of firm and strict against the people in Boom, for to try and get them to like make peace. But I think this is the first time we've actually seen them rageful and cruel, after they thought Ruby died, and I definitely like it because it's taken so long for them to reach this point. I think perhaps the other doctors maybe we saw bits of that from them earlier, or at least it feels longer. I mean, to be fair, the out of universe time gap between the episodes doesn't hugely help with some of that. A point I'm making is I do like the way that Shuri Gatwa kind of like does that anger, and the whole thing about, I think really the line was when the doctor was like, how long was their lifespan? Oh, 600 years, so that's how long they're gonna suffer. Good. Or no, actually it's worse than that. That's a good length of time to suffer. 600 years. That's pretty cold even for the doctor. So I kind of do like that they chose a good moment to land it. I'm trying to think how well Rogue would be as a companion. It's difficult, but we've had these like false start companions so many times. I definitely think like the best false start companion, and I can't remember the name of that. I want to say it's Rita, the doctor who the literal medical doctor or medical student who appeared in oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the name of the God Complex, back in 2013. Yeah, it was, yeah, because it was a few. It was, or was it 2012? I think it was 2012. Could even be 2011 actually. No. Yes. No. Yes. I'm trying to place season now. I definitely think it was late on in Amy Pond, Amy Worry tenure. Um, yeah, Rita who was in there, I think was like the best non-companion that we've had certainly that I can remember, or at least top of my ranking as well. I think maybe they oversold Rogue a lot in terms of as a fake companion. I mean, it was obvious from the second the Doctor invited Rogue to join them that Rogue wasn't going to join them. That was obvious. Like, I'm sorry, you cannot tell a tragic ending could not have been much more obviously telegraphed. We're not new to this. But I think having telegraphed at that point, they then very much oversold it and kept trying to kept being like, "Oh, you'll be an excellent companion. You'll be an excellent companion." I think they did oversell that bit. Um, Obviously, I like the design of the monsters. Um, I think they were. Actually, just hit me. There's one point where one of the what I thought was extras, or rather supporting characters, seeing a scandal and going, "Oh, that's scandalous," and saying it very kind of neutral, as if it was a practice line, as if it was being delivered by an actor. And at first, I thought it was a meta joke. Now I've realized actually that person was one of the people who later see turned into one of the monsters. So that was some nice kind of foreshadowing, and I appreciate that kind of level there. So yeah, that's my point of this episode. I think it was fun. It's not gonna be one of my favorites. I think it's definitely gonna land more with. I don't care for romance in TV. I'm sorry, I just don't. I find romance really boring and dull. I don't think there's particularly. Why have you bounced to my different stream? Did you made your point? Um, Mr. Demel has just bounced from my main stream to my vertical stream for some reason. Um, yeah, I don't really care much. Well, so Mr. Demel has said that they've gone from being the biggest Doctor Who fan even to not even able to watch it, and that's objectively not true because I'm sorry, Mr. Demel, but I am the biggest Doctor Who fan. Like me. So you can't. You might have been the second biggest Doctor Who fan. I'm not. I don't really care about the second place position, but I'm the biggest Doctor Who fan. So just make sure we're just straight on that. Yeah. Um. I would like you to apologize for trying to claim you're the biggest Doctor Who fan when I'm the biggest Doctor Who fan. But you're commenting on a video. I am making a video. I'm wearing a Doctor Who top. It's 20 to 2 in the morning. I think I was about to wrap up this video. I do agree with you. I don't really care much for the Doctor being in love, but I don't care for many characters being in love. I just think love is overdone. And I'm also very cynical in my real life, so that's probably not helping the case. But platonic friendships, that's where the good crack is, Well written platonic friendships. It really does matter. If you're saying it doesn't matter which one of us is the biggest Doctor Who fan, it matters. You don't walk into my house and tell me you're the biggest Doctor Who fan. Especially if you're referring to Doctor Who, if you're referring to David Tennant's era seasons, when we all know it's series. Like, come on, man. Let's not undermine your credit here. And let me. I was gonna tell you if I interrupted my point, but really that's on me for letting myself being interrupted. I said it in literally every single video I ever made. I don't care for romance as a genre, because I don't think we ever break new ground. Certainly nothing here has broken new ground. Oh, it's the Doctor and a witty, charming individual with who he sees. In fact, I don't actually know much about what the Doctor sees in Rogue. I don't really want to talk about this. Get into it. I think. I think I don't really know. I haven't ranked the series in a good while now. So I don't actually know where I'd rate David Tennant's series. I think a lot of it is biased towards the time it came out, more than anything else. Oh, you've distracted me now again. You've asked the question of where I would rank Doctor Who series, and I'm not sure. I mean, David Tennant wasn't in season 2. David Tennant was in season 38, I think. No, 28 was the season that David Tennant was in. So that's where you're wrong. Um, well, that just sounds like you're a David Tennant fan rather than a Doctor Who fan. Um, so that's probably maybe that's why the show isn't particularly interesting to you right now. Okay, anyway, let's leave Mr. DeMille to say the same things that everyone else on the internet has been saying for years. Um, I don't think I don't know exactly why the Doctor was so taken with Rogue, both romantically or otherwise. Um, and yeah, I know you talk about New Who. I didn't say you weren't. Um, well, you said you didn't care about any of the Doctor, so you can't. You're contradicting yourself now, Mr. DeMille. I think you're showing you how much of a fake fan you are. Um, uh, go, BB, go be a fake fan somewhere else. I'm baiting him. He's going to take a bait. You'll see in a second. Because other than being, I guess he looked into his eyes and saw some like depth there. That can happen. And I mean, it's not as if like emotion is rational. I just don't see. I mean, I don't have any objection to the Doctor like being attracted to someone they've just met, because that's what kind of happened with Renee in Girl in the Fireplace. So I can't really like, and I can't really. I mean, I didn't like that either because again, I don't think a Doctor should be romantically involved with humans because like, as beautiful as a human soul is, they like there's a big difference between a human and a Time Lord. Um, but and also I'm just I think that's my like my in universe explanation. That's just why I just don't like romance on TV. To be honest, I think platonic, like I said, platonic portrayals. There's a reason why I like Donna as a companion and why I like Sarah Jane as a companion, because they're very strong platonic relationships. But I still don't get why, even as like a friend, I'm not sure why the Doctor finds Rogue so fascinating as a person. Um, did Rogue even have like? I guess he was. The thing is, he was fascinated by Rogue being a bounty hunter. Bounty hunters traditionally aren't portrayed in media as. I think we're left to assume Rogue is like a good bounty hunter, but there's like, and I guess we shouldn't be applying our perceptions of like bounty hunters and other media to the portrayals here. But I'm pretty sure we've seen bounty hunters in Doctor Who before, and they probably have that same kind of the same kind of portrayal as like slightly dodgy people. They're like bounty hunters are usually bad guys. Well, not usually, but like they're coded that way. They're usually like roguish figures. There was like, as far as the Doctor knew, this person was basically going around capturing refugees and escaped slaves and people escaping from domestic abusive relationships and delivering them for the right money. Like the Doctor didn't know that wasn't the case with Rogue. So I'm kind of like, where was that kind of like? Whereas with Renee, they bonded over the fact that the Doctor looked into their mind and was able to like kind of see that spirit and soul of them. I'm not sure when that happened here. I'm being nitpicky. I think yeah, but you said you were the biggest fan. That was where your mistake was. So that's why I'm trying to tease you by fighting you back on that point. Because if you're gonna engage my channel and come and say you're the biggest Doctor Who fan, obviously I'm gonna like tease you and tell you that you're not, because it's funny. It's fun. I'm taking the piss out of you. It's funny. That's what's happening here. I mean, all Doctor Who is good. So yes, the Tennant era is good because all Doctor Who is good. That is the stance of this channel. All of Doctor Who is good. There is no bad Doctor Who. Even the bad Doctor Who is good Doctor Who, because good Doctor Who is bad Doctor Who. My coherency of that argument lost itself towards the last sentence, but hopefully the spirit was still maintained. Um, did I have another point to make here? No, I think we've exhausted all my thoughts. I mean, I've been talking for, where's my timer? 45 minutes. So we've reached the runtime of the episode. So I think that's enough ranting, really, to be going on with. So I think we'll end there because I need to record my thoughts about Discovery. And then if I'm still awake, I want to record my thoughts about Ghost Air Watchmen. So I think we'll end it here. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, so next week and the week after, the final episodes of this very short series. So we're finally, next episode seems to suggest we're going straight head on to tackle the Susan Twist mystery. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. There's been a very much of a classic vibe with this season in that the stories have like this underlying mystery arc, but they've not so much focused on it, and it's felt shorter. Because it is shorter. So a lot of classic vibe there. I'm doing a thing where I'm trying to like make a point to end on, and I don't have one. And I don't end on a negative point where I was criticizing the character Rogue terribly well. Jonathan Groff, what his name is, I don't know him. Is fairly good actor. I think he used the assignment fairly well. I did like the part where Shooty Gasper makes their accent very Scottish. I did like that part. Not sure how I feel about the screwdriver having. It's funny that someone calls it a screwdriver and it doesn't look like a screwdriver anymore. I know that's criticism that's like sailed. The ship sailed about by now. And honestly, I don't mind the screwdriver looking like a remote because it. People forget it didn't really look like a screwdriver either. It was just a cylindrical object, so that's fine. I just like the little like eye hole thing in it. I don't know if I like it or not. I don't know. I think it has too many like buttons and like fake detail on it. It's a step back when it used to be like, I'm rambling. Someone should have stopped me like about 5 minutes ago. I was trying to find a good point to end on, and I started to nitpick instead. What's wrong with me? Alright, episode. Let's see where the next one goes. Okay, I'm gonna press the button here to end the stream before I start rambling again. Goodbye, everyone.